Welcome to Obsessed, where Mika, Tia, and I challenge the thoughts that limit you, where we provide the tools for transformation. Be prepared to be swept away into the raw power of obsession, unlocking secrets and stories behind the insatiable hunger for growth and change. This is more than just a podcast. This is your story. It is a manifesto for those who refuse to settle, who dare to dream, and who are relentless in the pursuit of living a great life. Get obsessed with your life.
Hello, everyone. We have an amazing guest, Stephanie Keith, one of the amazing manifestation coach and law of attraction expert. So, Stephanie, welcome to the Get Obsessed podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you guys today.
Yeah, we've had Stephanie on before. So she's so amazing, and you're going to feel her energy. You'll feel her energy through the lines, through the waves here, the radio waves, audio waves, invisible waves. And so definitely stay tuned. Listen to like every word of wisdom that Stephanie has. And I'm curious, Stephanie, like, what are you obsessed with currently?
Oh, currently I am obsessed with really like my big focus this year is just kind of taking care of my mental health and like being a very hands-on mom. So a big shift for me this year was really setting a lot of boundaries and kind of scaling back from doing a lot of like hands-on things in my business and focusing more on just whatever I'm intuitively called to do. You know what I mean? Like whatever feels good, whatever's going to raise my vibration and not have these expectations that I have to do it all. And that's been working out really well for me. So I'm obsessed with it. And now I'm trying to help other women get to that point too, so that, you know, your business doesn't have to take away from being a hands-on mom or traveling or whatever it is you want to do. So that's my thing this year.
So we're really lucky that you are here with us because you probably picked those projects that only serve the greater good. And you're here talking to our audience about how to attract and manifest success and wealth. I'm telling you, this is a hot topic. First of all, manifestation and manifesting these things, as well as people are always looking for ways to build wealth and success. And it means different, it has a different definition for many people. So OMG.
Yeah, I as soon as I heard from you guys, I was like, yes, like, you know, you just have that gut feeling where it's like, yep, I'm going to say yes to this one. And I'm glad I did. It's like, you guys have great energy too. And I have a feeling that we're going to cover some really good things today.
Yes. No, this is good. So we're all in alignment. We've manifested each other. I'm in love with that. And like for our audience, for those that are able to see this on YouTube, check out Stephanie is a best-selling author. These are her books. So you're able to, I'm going to put it up higher. These two here, they're amazing. These are my personal books. And I've already gone through them and I'm going through them again. I like to reread books and kind of really absorb what the author is channeling, the information, the knowledge, the wisdom. So I love to really dive into books. And so definitely grab Stephanie Keith's books. Check out her Instagram, her Facebook page. She has an amazing tribe, and you can get her book on Amazon. And I was blessed to go to an amazing like spiritual store, and I saw her book. And I was like curious, like, oh, interesting. I picked up her book, went through the pages. Should I get it? Yes.
Wait,
Done.
what store? Was it in Florida?
It was in Tampa. The store is in Tampa. I was at a mall, and it's called Earthbound, I think it is. And I
Yeah.
and so it was this book. I saw this. I was like, "Oh, I must have it. It's so beautiful." And for for someone in the audience, you may have heard of law of attraction. There are still some people that probably don't know, like, what is law of attraction? Stephanie, what would you say to that person that doesn't know what a law of attraction is?
Yeah, so law of attraction, the way that I look at it is it's basically intentionally creating your life. And rather than attracting, I like to think of it as you're aligning the things that are on the same vibrational frequency as you. So you're like calling the things in that are going to create your life. It's basically taking things from the energetic realm where everything's created and manifesting it in the physical realm. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
That's
incredible.
it. Yeah. Go
We,
ahead, Queen.
I was going to say, we had one of the law of attraction people, like one of those people that kind of started the movement of law of attraction, Michael Lozier. He wrote the book, The Law of Attraction, and
Mhm.
worked with Oprah. And just learning from him, I think your approaches are the same yet different. I feel like thank you. Your approach is probably more practical and maybe more geared to people that understand the idea that it is about alignment of ourselves than taking action in alignment with what we want.
Yeah, it's so interesting because back when I first learned about the law of attraction, this was in 2009 when, it really wasn't a mainstream thing at that point in time. People were like just starting to learn about it. And I learned the same way that pretty much, a lot of people have, which is through The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And I hear people every once in a while that'll say, like, well, that book was wrong because it leaves out this, this, and this, or this, and that. And I don't really look at it that way. I look at it as like everybody is, has their way of explaining it. And like I'm going to reach certain people the way that I teach it. Other people are going to be drawn to other people. So I feel like we're all, saying the same thing, but we're just talking in a way that's like relatable to people that think the way that we do, And so my whole thing with the law of attraction is trying to simplify it. And I think like since, manifestation has become such a big trend and it's all over TikTok and everything else, I think that's great. But I also feel like as human beings, we just try to overcomplicate, not try, like we just do overcomplicate things. And so my whole thing is trying to bring it back down to a place where it's just so easy because it is. Like it gets to be easy if you believe that it's easy. And so I really try to bring it back to the basics and make it so simple that anyone can apply it and it just sort of clicks. So
Wow.
that's my goal.
It's a good goal. No, I love it. Going through your books and then using it in my life, I was able to really get the practicality through the pages, all the tips and the meditation tips and mindset. So you cover mindset and you also cover meditations and the energy and letting go of the past. So for someone who you said it's easy if you believe it to be easy but how can for those that are like, I want to believe it, but you know i I'm so used to things just like predicting the outcomes of what's going to happen through the day. Like, I don't know, how can this work for me? I kind of believe it. This is first, not my point of view, but for some, like I kind of believe it, Stephanie, but you're going to have to sell me because I don't really know if it's like real.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I like I could talk about this all day long because it's such a common thing. Um and I mean I've dealt with this in my personal life. Like my dad, for example, super super skeptical, very like if I can't see it, I'm not going to believe it type of thing. And so I want to start by just explaining like why that is because I think it's really important to understand why we're that way. And if we're going to shift it, we kind of have to understand like how it started. And so the way that I look at it is we've all been conditioned by our society, especially by our school system, to really gravitate towards the left side of our brain. So the analytical side, the, strategic side, like looking at things from a very practical sense. And like if you think about it, even when you're in elementary school, for example, if you're in the middle of class and you start using your imagination and you're daydreaming and you want to play, what happens? You get in trouble, right? And so even though like our teachers and our parents and society, it's all like good intentions, it's like all these little things throughout our childhood that reinforce continually over and over and over again that that's not okay. Like you're not supposed to be in the right side of your brain, meaning like using your imagination, pretend play, trusting your intuition. We're kind of like scolded for that. And so what ends up happening is we're all a bunch of adults that are like not comfortable at all with the right side, with like tuning into our intuition, with if it doesn't make practical, analytical, strategic sense, then there could be a lot of subconscious resistance. So that's kind of why we are the way we are in that regard. And the thing is, no one can make you believe something that you don't want to believe. And so the very like the number one mistake that I see people make is they come at manifestation with the mindset of it's not going to work. Like there's already this preconceived opinion that it just doesn't work, or this is woo woo, or like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And I think that's like such an interesting concept, right? Because when you know anything about science or physics or universal laws, anything like that, that we're pretty much blind in a cosmic sense. I mean, there's so many things like in our reality that we can't see at all. We can't see, but we know they're there. We can't see microwaves or gamma waves or, any of these things, but we know for a fact that they're there and we believe in it and we trust in it. We can't see the Wi-Fi that we're using right now, but it works. You know what I mean? And we believe in it. And so it really has nothing to do with seeing it. It all has to do with what you've been told starting at a young age and repeatedly. And so basically when we understand how we've been conditioned, I tell people, okay, we know that we're conditioned to really use the left hemisphere of the brain. So let's work with that. And we're going to look at this as a science experiment, okay? And you're the scientist. And what does the scientist do when they are running an experiment? They're supposed to remove all bias and opinions and just be very open, and you do the experiment. And then at the end of the experiment, you look at the results and then you form your opinion. So that's really like where I try to get people like my dad on board and just saying like, don't write it off before you've even tried it. And don't say like, well, I don't think it's going to work. Like just go at it as what do you have to lose? I mean, really nothing. Like you only have something to gain. So just look at it as, okay, I'm going to conduct this science experiment on my life. And I'm going to set a goal that's so crazy that if it manifests, then I have no choice but to believe it because it's so powerful. Like I can't reasonably or practically think of any way in which this goal is going to happen. And then just like remove your judgment and just do, go about your day. And when you can kind of like take the pressure off of it and look at it as like, I'm just running an experiment, no big deal. Like, I don't care if the experiment goes this way or that way. It can really help with the people that are super, super skeptical. But then getting down to like, what is belief and like, what is faith? Faith is believing in something, even when you can't see it, even when it makes no sense practically, or even when it looks like it's not going to happen or it didn't happen, and still believing anyways. Like that's faith. And I can't do that for anyone. Like you're the only one that can do that for yourself. And so if you're not willing to kind of like open yourself up to that, then you're probably not going to see, the miracles unfold in your life. And like perfect example, I had this guy that he was emailing me over and over and over again. And he's like, I want to work with you one-on-one. And if that can happen, then I'll believe. Then I'll be willing to believe that manifestation works because it means I manifested you as a coach. And I'm like, that's not That's not how it works. You believe first, right? You believe and you hold the faith first. It's not dependent on any external source. It's dependent on you and like your energy. And so I know that's like a long beginning, but I say all that to say this is the way that I approach it. As like a scientist or whatever, this is the technique that I would suggest that everybody tries. You're going
No,
to
that's good. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So acting as if it already happened, thinking as if it already happened, talking as if, feeling as if whatever it is you want already manifested. Okay. And when you first do this, you feel like a crazy person, right? Because it's not in your physical reality. But as I said in the beginning, like everything starts energetically. Everything in this room, everything in your life started as a thought. It started as a form of energy that later manifested into something, physically. And so you're going to start talking and feeling and acting as if this already happened. And you do this by, speaking affirmations, like I am affirmations, like I am wealthy, I am supported by money, I am capable of multiplying my income, that kind of thing. And it feels really uncomfortable in the beginning because you don't see it in your real life. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. And this is where it all ties back to your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy. So if you start continually repeating and thinking and feeling as though something's already in your life, your subconscious is going to think that it's in your life. And therefore, there's not going to be a reason to resist it and to bring all these limiting beliefs forward. And that's where the alignment piece comes. You just start to align with that frequency. And like that's when it manifests. It's not, anything physically first. It's simply like calling it in energetically as though it's already here. And that is where like you're aligning with the opportunities that are going to make it happen. Did that make
that makes so much sense to me. And I'm thinking to myself, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, I want to dance like J-Lo. I want to sing like Whitney Houston. I want to travel the Riviera like Jackie Onassis. Now, if I say, and I'm just asking your expert opinion, if I'm asking this over and over and over and over again, is this going to happen? Even though I can't carry a tune, I can dance just a wee bit, and I don't have a private yacht. Is this just the magic telling ourselves like we saying those affirmations? And I think I know your answer, but I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, okay, so let's think about this for a second, right? If you're constantly, thinking like, I wish I could dance like J-Lo. I wish I could dance like J-Lo. I wish I could be like J-Lo, right? You're separating yourself from it.
What do you mean? That's interesting. What do you mean?
Yeah. So when you're talking about like, I wish I had this, I would really like this, I wish, like that kind of thinking, you're separating yourself from it because you're just constantly affirming that's not my life right now. Right. So the way that you have to do it is you have to embody it. Like you have to believe it's possible. You have to believe like, yeah, I can dance like J-Lo. I am dancing like J-Lo. And you start dancing, right? Like you start moving, you start embodying all the different things that you want to be. And you're like closing that gap between something that you want and something that is by acting as though it already is. So I know that's kind of confusing, but I see people do that all the time. And at the end of the day, it's like you can wish and hope as much as you want, but all that's doing is reaffirming that I don't have it in my life yet. And so the only way to have it in your life now is to have it in your life now. And you do that by stepping into that. So like, who would you have to be to have all those things? What would you have to do? You'd have to like take dance classes, right? You'd have to condition your body a certain way. You'd have to,
you have to
like,
go do all that.
You know what I mean?
Work at it. You actually have to go work at it, right?
Well, you have to take action.
I'm saying this like tongue in cheek because I know.
So, okay, here's the thing. Like you do absolutely have to take action when it presents itself. Okay. So if you're acting as if, what happens is you're starting to train your subconscious and your reticular activating system that this particular goal is really important. And it like sort of like tags it. Like think about like you're hashtagging that in your mind, right? So then when your reticular activating system starts picking things up in your environment, because in your environment, you're only consciously seeing a tiny little sliver for every 200 pieces of data your conscious mind sees, your subconscious is seeing like 11 million bits. Like it's totally different. So what happens is you're like tagging this as important, this goal, right? And so now when opportunities are right in front of you that you've never seen before, you're going to start noticing them. But when you notice them, like let's say there's an opportunity that all of a sudden now you're noticing to like train with JLo's coach or I don't know, whatever. Like if you don't act on it, then nothing's going to happen, right? You know what I mean? Like if you start filling with doubt and you think, well, I can't do that, then nothing happens. So there is a level of action that you take. But what I found in my own life and working with clients is when you start to change the way you're thinking and you start to embody the version of yourself that is going to get you to that next level, these opportunities quite literally will land in your lap. But it's up to you once they land in your lap to take action on the opportunity and to do whatever work it is. And I think the work piece of it in our mind is where we get caught up too, because we're so conditioned subconsciously to believe that it has to be hard. Everything has to be hard. Any level of success, we have to work our butts off, right? Like we're so programmed to believe that. And so that's a whole other layer that you work through because it really doesn't have to be that way. Like there are things that can happen easily if we allow ourselves to believe that they can happen easily.
It makes a lot of sense. Totally agree. And it makes me think of, as you're saying, to align with it. What would I have to do to dance like JLo? Even JLo takes certain steps regularly to be able to do what she does to make it look so easy. She has the top trainer. She has a certain diet. She has a certain lifestyle. She has a certain sleeping schedule. She has things in place. And so when you're reading those interviews that she does and you're getting inside scoops of what she does, how does she maintain her home? How does she maintain her body? And you start implementing that. And you take those actions like Stephanie's mentioning, and then you might find yourself grocery shopping in the same grocery store and actually run into her trainer. Those type of synchronistic things that happens. Or it's so many interesting things that happens, and someone goes, you know what? Why don't you take this class? JLo took this class years ago. It's like, oh my gosh, that's a synchronicity. Things just happen, and you put yourself in those places, in those opportunities. So
Yeah, and something else that I've noticed is a lot of times we'll set these goals, right, of like what we think we want, okay? So like the JLo thing. But then as we go through this journey, right, we start to connect with ourselves, like our higher selves, like that inner wisdom. And
yes,
sometimes the things that we want really change and we get to a point when we realize like I don't really need that thing to be happy. Like I'm already happy, I'm already whole, and we sort of are able to step into our own power and feel this like this empowerment to maybe try things differently, do things differently. And that was the case when I first got started with writing a book and podcasting and all these different things. I kind of had that same level of thought like, oh, well, I wish I could be like this person or that person. But now I'm glad I'm me. Like I want to do things my way. And sometimes my way is like very different. And sometimes my way rubs other people the wrong way, but like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's like this deeper sense of connecting with myself. And so the path kind of twists and turns, but I feel like as you tune into your intuition and you follow those little nudges that you get that are like leading you towards certain things, it always is so much better than what you asked for. So like it could be even better than like the J-Lo thing, like something completely different could happen. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that the path kind of twist and turned this way because it's something that I never could have even imagined. And it feels so fulfilling. And so you
Right.
kind of have to be open that way as well, knowing that we as human beings, we can't see every step. We just can kind of get that sense of how we want to feel, how we want to live our lives, and then let the universe like surprise you and sort of like delight you along the way because it's more fun that way, like looking back and thinking, man, like I never would have imagined like all of this would happen and I'd end up here. But that's kind of the whole point of the journey,
Yeah. Like Julie can start off going, I want to dance like J-Lo and take all those steps. And then as she's going through the process, there's an evolution, like you said, like something better comes out of it. So it's like, what if Julie does a dance that goes viral? A
I was
certain
just
move and
thinking
it just
that.
goes it goes everywhere. London
You're making me want to dance right now, by the way.
I think
London
we need
is
to see some
doing
dance
her
moves.
move. London, Cape Town, Sydney, Australia, Greece, everyone is doing this new move. And Julie's like, oh my gosh, this is better. And this is me. This is coming from me. So I totally feel you, Stephanie. I feel you. Soon we'll all be doing Julie's dance move.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can check, there's some rogue Instagram photos of me this weekend with Kim D dancing like a maniac. So I think I really have something here. Bottled. It's
I think you do. Just follow it.
Yes, we're keeping the cap on it. It's so bottled. We're keeping the cap on it
That's Mika. She's like,
for the right
down
time.
a notch, take it down a notch. But Stephanie, I mean, we have just scraped the surface of everything, the law of attraction. You explain this to us, at least to me, in a way that I've never been privy to before. I would love just for, if you're open to it, doing a second part at some point about specifically manifesting wealth and success. I know we can transfer everything we learned today to wealth and success, but specifically, and I love how you talk about the science behind it, because there is science behind manifestation. There is science in our brain and what we think. Mika,
Yes.
Can we manifest having Stephanie on another time?
I'm already there.
I'm doing it right.
I've
I asked her, so if she says
it.
yes, then
Yeah. Yes. I've already said yes in my mind. So that like instantaneously manifested.
Full body yes. Dr. Laura Berman.
That was a hell yes. That was
Oh,
like
the hell yes.
trusting your gut feeling. Yeah, for
I
sure.
love that. You're amazing. And just to get to know you better and everything that you do. And I'd love that you protect your energy and your boundaries with your family and putting momhood first, because I'm a mom of 4 boys. Mika's a mom in waiting, and our other co-host is also a young mother. So we understand the power of protecting those days and boundaries of having a young child. Or I don't know how old kids are. My kids are older, but. And by the way,
I have 3. I feel like you need to come on my podcast now and we can talk about like motherhood
done
and podcasting and starting a business, because that's another big one that we all struggle with, right?
You get this? Why are you on the computer? What are you doing on the computer? What are you recording? And I just told my son, I go, we're number 6 in the United States, and he didn't believe me. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
no, it's like
no. We're just
I'm
moms.
just glad my kids didn't come like busting in here. I'm in my daughter's room, like because I had to hide because they were in my room. So it's like we just make it work.
It's real.
My son came in, my dog. So look at us. But this is how you have to do it in today's world. If you want something, if we have to figure out those different avenues, those different canals in terms of like reaching where we want to be. Sometimes it's not, in my mind, exactly where we think we should be, but it's right where we are meant to be. Right
Yes.
here in
Oh
your
my gosh,
daughter's room.
so perfect the way you said that. Yeah, I have people all the time, like if my kids come in, like that used to happen, my masterminds, like my kids would come in and I'd be mortified. And they were like, this is amazing because that shows us that we can run a business while we have little kids like running all over the house. And like,
Truth.
so it,
True.
it shows other women that like, hey, it's not always easy, but
It
it's
can be
possible, so
done.
go for it.
Wait, Stephanie, I know Mika's probably heard this story. I just want to see if this has happened to Stephanie. In the depths of COVID, when I was homeschooling my kids, I was on a Zoom and they were just tired of it. The cachet was gone. They came behind me and started punching each other out, like right behind me on camera. I'm like,
I didn't see it though. I didn't see it.
you weren't there, but luckily it was someone I knew, and she was like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
She thought,
Yeah, no, that kind of thing happens all the time. And so I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old and then a teenager, but the 3-year-old, he never wants to have pants on. He like cannot stand. And so I'm like, there's always this kid that's half naked, like running around in the background. And people are probably like, doesn't she ever dress her kids? It's like, I do, like 8 times during the day.
You have an excuse though,
You don't
Stephanie. We
stand.
are in Florida. So we're in
Exactly.
Florida.
It's always
Florida
hot
too.
outside.
Where are you in Florida? I'm sorry to digress.
Tampa.
Oh, you are in Tampa. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I've heard so many things about Tampa today. There must be a reason why. That's amazing. I know I'm going to meet you in person because I come to Naples a lot, but
I'm going to Naples next week.
why? How the heck did that just happen, Mika?
It's
I love
called
Naples.
yeah,
We go
synchronicity.
we do like for my birthday and my daughter's birthday and my mom's birthday. It's all in the same like month. And so we always go to Naples once a year.
Well,
It's
there you have
beautiful.
it, guys. I'm not only did Mika and I think Mika introduced me to Stephanie, but we're going to be in Naples. We have a condo on Gulf Shore Boulevard, right by Venice. Okay, everybody, come and hang out with us. But I will be there. Amazing. I would love to do another like specific talk. You could just be our 4th co-host actually, but on all the things we're talking about, because it's about us striving to get to our dreams. It's about us taking that leap of faith. It's about getting our mind aligned with our actions. And Stephanie, everything about Stephanie is going to be in the show notes. You need to follow her on Instagram, buy her books, just give her some
amazing
love.
books.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here.
Oh, so much fun.
Naples 2025, girl.
That's right.
Done.
Bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Angel.
And I'm going to cut this out of the audio, but I'm like, she looks like Amy Adams. Do people tell you that a lot?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah. I'm like, who is she? I don't know if you saw her back channel. I'm like, she looks just like Amy Adams. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I've been told like go be her stunt double or something. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mika's like, who's Amy Adams? You know who Amy Adams is, right?
You would know her if you saw her.
Superman.
Julie and Julia.
Superman.
Superman, yeah. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I was like, what? Stephanie Doppelganger. Okay, I'm going to end this show now. Guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe. And make sure you give some love to Stephanie Keith because she's amazing. Here we go.
Welcome to Obsessed, where Mika, Tia, and I challenge the thoughts that limit you, where we provide the tools for transformation. Be prepared to be swept away into the raw power of obsession, unlocking secrets and stories behind the insatiable hunger for growth and change. This is more than just a podcast. This is your story. It is a manifesto for those who refuse to settle, who dare to dream, and who are relentless in the pursuit of living a great life. Get obsessed with your life.